Okay, good afternoon to everyone. Um, in the previous class, we were discussing about the different methods to calculate the storm water. So, in that, we have already mentioned two methods. First one is rational method. Second one is empirical method. So, whatever the rational method we are talking about today, so it is a rough estimate of the calculation of the stormwater flow. So then it will give the reasonable estimate up to the maximum area of 50 hectares. Calculate it, you will get it. So if it is more than 50 hectares, then we will not use this method. Means approximately it is correct, but if it is crossing more than 50 hectares, then we'll use the empirical formulas. Depends on the different limitations. Depends on the different applications where exactly we are using this rainfall data. So we'll discuss in detail in the next slides. So then, in this, as I already told that it is a rough estimate of uh, the rainwater, what you are calculating, which is that is a storm water, which is flowing to the storm water drains. So in this, we have different assumptions and limitations before using this formula. So with these assumptions, we'll start estimating the uh, quantity of stormwater flow. The first one is use of rational method includes the following assumption limitations. The first one is the precipitation is uniform over the entire basin. See, for example, if you are considering a 50 um, uh, or 0.5 kilometer square or 50 hectares, so we have to assume here in that all 50 hectares uniform rainfall is happening. If it is uneven or if it is not uniform, then we'll not consider this. So this is the first thing we have to do this. Second one, precipitation does not vary with the time or space. Means it is a constant throughout that time. If you are considering 2 hours of rainfall, in that 2 hours, continuously constant intensity is happening. Intensity we already discussed what exactly the meaning of intensity. So means it should be constant with respect to time and with respect to space. Stormwater duration is equal to the time of concentration. That we will discuss what is that time of concentration in detail. But at present, you assume the stormwater is equal to the time of concentration. We'll discuss that point later because it requires a lot of explanation. And with equation or with modeling, we'll explain that. Okay, whatever the storm duration, for example 2 hours of rainfall is happening, it is equivalent to the time of concentration that we'll discuss later. A design storm of a specified frequency produces a design flood of the same frequency. Means, for example, if you designed a storm, this much is going to, because most of the whatever the rainfalls are going to be predicted 1 or 2 hours before or one day before, it can be predicted. What I am telling the prediction, it's always a prediction. It is not, of course, accurate. But nowadays, many simulation softwares are available to predict the exact rainfall, how much is going to happen in the next 2 hours, or approximately we can predict just one day before. If you go to the IMD website, Indian Meteorological Department, they will say exactly how much with a plus or minus of 3 or 4 standard deviation or plus or 5% or 10% error. They can say that Okay, this much is going to happen in this area roughly. Based on that, we can predict. Design of storm means whatever the design we are doing it for the quantification of rainfall with a specified frequency produces a design flood of the same frequency. Means if you predict it 100 mm per hour or 200 mm per hour, it is nothing but the intensity. If you are predicting the rainfall, means you are predicting the flood also. The statement meaning is that if you are producing this much intensity of rainfall in this area, you can approximately you can calculate in this area the flood is going to happen. That is what the assumptions we have to make it. Means 200 mm per hour, this much flood. 300 mm per hour, this much flood and this much area. 400 mm per hour, this much flood and this much area. Like that, we have to always assume that here the flood is going to happen if you use this formula. Then, as the basin area increases roughly in proportion to increase in the length. Of course, when the whatever the catchment area, the basin area you are calculating, it roughly increases as the length increases. Of course, it is a common phenomena that we have to assume it. Then the time of concentration is relatively short and independent of storm intensity. This also will this statement will discuss later. This time of concentration. At present, time of concentration you can assume it in this way. The time of concentration is nothing but it is the time starting from rainfall to the water which is reaching entry to the stormwater drains. So, assuming that the rainfall has started at 0 minute, whatever that rainfall which is falling on the surface and which is reaching to the sewer at 10th minute, inlet of the sewer, if it is entering or if it is entering to the stormwater drains, I already classified you have two, one is sewer and stormwater drains. At 0 rainfall is started and at 10th minute it is entering to the stormwater inlet, then we can call this is as the time of concentration. Just to enter to the stormwater drain, then we can call it as the time of concentration of that rainfall water. So this whatever the time of concentration is relatively short, of course it is very short, and it is independent of storm intensity. Whatever it is happening, it is we have to assume it here. Whatever the assumptions we are discussing now, it is of course whatever the time constant, it is dependent on the storm intensity. But here we have to assume it as whatever the time of concentration is independent of the storm intensity. The runoff coefficient does not vary with the storm intensity or the antecedent soil moisture. This runoff coefficient we will discuss in the further slide. This how exactly what exactly that runoff coefficient is. We'll come back. So runoff is dominated by overland flow. Means normally what will happen is that when you are considering overland flow, whatever the runoff is happening, it is dependent on the type of the soil surface. If the soil surface is more porous, then whatever the overland flow which is happening is very less. If the porosity is very less, for example, if the runoff is happening on the surface of the concrete, normally concrete will not absorb the water. then normally whatever it is happening, it is completely coming out as a overland flow. Then it is normally whatever the domination is related to the overland flow. Means it is depends on the soil texture, soil surface, or the land flow. And whatever the basin storage effects, for example, in this case, uh, if you take any small ponds where the runoff is going there and it is storing there, that is negligible. Means you don't have any ponds, you have to assume it that whatever the runoff or the rainfall is happening, it is not going to join any of the ponds or the basins, and the storage is not happening. Then whatever it is coming and it is going to join the stormwater drains, that we have to assume it. The minimum duration to be used for the computation of the rainfall intensity is 10 minutes. Minimum you have to consider it. Minimum 10 minutes, the rainfall intensity will be there. Means minimum 10 minutes, then only you have to use this formula. Otherwise, we will not use that formula. If the time of concentration is computed for the drainage area is less than 10 minutes, then 10 minutes should be adopted for the rainfall intensity computation. I already said that time of concentration is nothing but it is from the time of the starting of the rainfall to the time where it is entering to the inlet of the stormwater drains of the sewers. If that is there, at least even if it is not joined to the sewer, if 10 minutes only if it is taking, then we have to consider it as a 10 minutes only. So minimum at least we have to consider it as 10 minutes. If 2 minutes or 3 minutes rainfall is happening, then we will not consider this equation. So minimum 10 minutes is required. So this is what the equation. So Q is equal to CIA divided by 360. So Q is the quantity of stormwater in meter cube per second, or discharge. Normally we can call it as discharge. C is the coefficient of runoff. Whatever we discussed previously, that is the coefficient of runoff. Then I is the intensity of rainfall, and A is the area of drainage in hectares. Whatever the notations I am giving here, you have to follow with the same notations. Always mention whenever we are discussing the rational methods and the empirical formulas, make sure that you have to display all those units in that the meter cube per second, or whatever we have displayed here. Q always it will be in meter cube per second. C is the coefficient of runoff, no units. Intensity of rainfall always it will be in mm per hour. This also you make a note of that. And area of the drainage always it will be in hectares. Don't put it in meter square and all those. Whenever you are substituting, you make sure that you substitute it in hectares only. Then what is this runoff coefficient? C is the runoff coefficient. This made up of one type of soil, and one more hectare is a different kind of soil. Then the calculation is totally different. We'll see. The whole quantity of rainwater that falls over the ground does not reaches to the sewer line. When you are calculating, you have to keep it in mind all these things. Whatever the quantity of rainwater it is there, it does not reaches to the sewer line. During that, what will happen is that a portion of it percolates in the ground, a portion evaporates, a portion is stored in ponds, and ditches, and only the remaining portion of rainwater reaches the sewer line. Then runoff coefficient depends on mainly on the characteristics of the ground surface, means it depends on, completely depends on the porosity I already discussed, wetness, ground cover, which varies from 0.01 for the forest or 0 point wooded area. If you take the wooded area, it is 0.95 for the water type roof surfaces. See, if you go to the forest, normally the percolation will be very more compared to the water tight roof surfaces or the concrete surfaces. If you go to the forest, the infiltration will be very high, because whatever the roots of the trees will not allow to flow water. It will hold the water for the longer time. Whatever the roots will be there, it will be there, or it will hold roots for the longer time. That is why if you see the runoff coefficient, that is very less for forest. Means runoff, as the runoff coefficient is increasing, means even the flood is also increasing and runoff is also increasing. When the runoff coefficient is very less, means the water entering to the stormwater drains or the sewers, it is also very less. So that is why if you see, for the forest it is very less, and for 9.95 it is for water roof surfaces. If you see our roof surfaces in our buildings, the water will not enter into your concrete. It will, whatever happening, completely it is going to make the runoff. Means 100% it will come out as a rainwater. So even if it falls on the concrete, the same it will come out. If 100 liters of water we are getting from the rainfall, the same it will come out from the pipes. So then, as every locality consists of different types of surface that I already discussed, if you consider 50 hectares of land, then you have different surfaces. If you are calculating the runoff coefficient for different areas, then following formula can be used to calculate the runoff coefficient for the entire 50 hectares of that area. Now this runoff coefficient C can be calculated A1 into C1 plus A2 C2 plus A3 C3, then up to AN, Cn divided by A1 A2 A3 AN. So assuming that you have 50 hectares is there, in that you equally divide into 5 sections, like 10 hectare, 10 hectare, 10 hectare, 10 hectare. So then 10 hectares of area is made up of some concrete, 10 hectare it is a forest, 10 hectare it is some agriculture area, 10 hectare again you take, consider it as one asphalting area, not the concrete. Again 10 hectare, assume that it is a residential area. Then for each of those areas, the coefficient will be mentioned. Then you have to multiply the coefficient of that runoff with the respective area, then divide by the total area, that is 50 hectares. If you calculate, you will get the average coefficient. Then you have to substitute it in this Q is equal to CIA. Means always what you have to do is that whenever you are calculating the C coefficient of runoff, that is the average you have to consider it, not the single area. Keep it in that. So then once you calculate it, substitute it in a C as a C average, then intensity of rainfall and area in hectares. So then A1, A2, A3 are different types of area. C1, C2 are the runoff coefficients respective. Okay, then if you see this type of surface, for water type roofs, it is 0.7 to 0.95. Asphalted or cement streets, it will be 0.85, 0.9. Portland cement streets, it is 0.8 to 0.95. Paved drive waves or the walks, we can call it as 0.75. Gravel and walks, whatever the streets, what we are calling the different types of basements, they will make it. And for residential single family areas, it is 0.3 to 0.5. Then suburban areas, it is 0.25 to 0.4. Then laws and sandy soils, if it is 2% slope, it is 0.05 to 1. 2 to 7% slope, it is 0.1 to 0.15. If the slope is greater than 7%, 0.15 to 0.2. Then laws and heavy soils, then it is 0.13. Heavy soil and sandy soil, 0.1317. 2 to 7%, it is 0.18 to 0.22. If it is greater than 0.7% slope, it is 0.25 to 0.35. See, with this table, we can draw some major conclusions. If you consider the first one, water type roofs, where the sea is very high, means whatever it is falling on, the rainfall falling on the earth or the water type roofs, the infiltration will not be there, or whatever it is falling on, it is coming as, and which is going to join the sewers, or it is making as a flood only. Then if you come to the last one, the sandy soil surface, where 2% slope, it is very less, means whichever the water coming out from that area, it is very less. In water type roofs, whichever is rainfall is happening, that whole amount is coming as the runoff. And that is one conclusion you can draw. And if the slope is go on increasing, the sea is increasing, means the quantity of water coming out from that area, again it is go on increasing. That is one conclusion. If the slope is go on increasing, water coming out from that area is go on increasing. Greater than 7%, it is 0.2, highest they have taken. That is one conclusion. And sandy soil and heavy soil, if you consider it, for sandy soil, the infiltration will be more. The water coming out, it will be very less. Again, the C value is very less compared to the heavy soil. Heavy soil is nothing but it is a compacted soil where the water will not penetrate into the soil. That is one conclusion. From this table, we can draw three major conclusions. The first one is related to the water type area. There the coefficient of runoff is very high. Second one is, as the slope increases, the C value will increase. Then as the porosity will increase, the C value will decrease. That is how we can draw some major conclusions. So this kind of questions, it will be there in some of the GATE exams. Those who are preparing for the GATE exams, be careful about this, whatever the conclusions what I have drawn today, because one or two times they have asked these questions. Sometimes you have to assume some of the values in the GATE examination. Remember that they will give the approximate value. Which one you have to assume, it depends on that. They will give the water type roofs and they won't give the values. They will tell you to assume it, but you have to assume the suitable value and you have to calculate it. Sometimes they may ask some practical application problem. Okay, in this area, this much is happening. Then calculate the stormwater flow using rational method, or even he won't suggest which formula I'll use it. Only he will give the area. If it is more than 50 hectares, directly you can take the empirical formula. If it is less than that, go with uh, rational method. He won't tell you what formula you have to use it. Only he will tell that okay, these are things are there, and you have to use this one only. Sometimes he may give the table and sometimes he may not. That cases you have to assume the suitable value and you have to calculate it. Okay, then this empirical formula we will discuss in the next class. Of course, it requires some more explanation. Along with this, some time of concentration.